Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Aaron. Welcome to Trio Talks. As with me, as always, are Daryl and Patrick. Guys, how are things where you're at?
Things are good. A little dark outside today, like everywhere across the country, but overall we're doing great. No rolling power outages here, thankfully. So feel
Yeah,
for the people in Texas.
and
Yeah,
our
it's
snow
it's
and our
really
snow's already been melted by the rain. Just imagine that.
Yeah, we did have over a foot of snow at our ranch over the weekend, so it was a pretty good spell of snow that came in, but enough for the dog and kids to have fun. And then, like Patrick said, we're very fortunate that it literally warmed up gradually, but we didn't have a bunch of ice or anything this time.
Oh,
So
that's great. That's great.
yeah.
But you're absolutely right. There are a lot of things happening around the country. It's cold in a lot of different places, Texas definitely being one of them. So our thoughts are with those folks out there that may have frozen pipes or any sort of things like that. So
Yep, no
But I
heat
am
and all the rest. So
exactly. But I am trying to brighten spirits with my colorful sweater today.
we
it is
appreciate
quite
that.
the colorful background and sweater. Yeah, you're
I
getting
know,
ready for spring,
and it
You
is
didn't get
the
the
first day of Christian Lent, so
It
it's
Mhm.
is. It's Ash Wednesday, as
precursor.
a matter of fact.
Yep.
You got it.
It is Ash Wednesday. There you
Yeah.
go. Well, we have a lot to get to today, so I'm going to jump right into industry news. And Daryl, I'm going to throw this one on over to you. The Biden administration was very busy this week. Let's go ahead and talk about that for just a second.
Well, I mean, yeah, we had an extension of the foreclosure moratorium, obviously, until June. So that's, I think at this point they don't know what else to do, right? I mean, the minute you stop extending it, then you're going to have a pretty substantial crisis out there. So it's going to be interesting to see, how it's going. And overall, the forbearance rate across all mortgages is down to like 5.6 or something like that. But I think it's interesting to note that conventional is down to 3.6 or so. FHA is still at 11.3. So the what that's telling you is that FHA is obviously financing, like TRIO, a lot of people that are in the workforce, and so you don't have as many
Mhm.
folks that are isolated and insulated against the day-to-day stuff that happens with shutdowns and the restaurant industry and hotels and the like. So I think that's a good indicator that there's such a substantial portion of the country that's still very impacted by COVID, and that's not going to, hopefully with what's going on, like we all know and are reading, that's going to work its way out. But the forbearance challenge is going to be there, and I've been on the phone with one of the larger servicers, working with them on some programs that we can work together on, and using Trio with a lot of their customers. And they have hundreds of thousands of loans that are stuck in forbearance right now that at some point are going to have to work themselves out. And the HUD's guidelines, they just released a new mortgagee letter yesterday that went over not only this but also the forbearance options for servicers, and what options they have for helping keep people in their homes, but also exit plans for folks. And a lot of it's similar, definitely some improvements from the last crisis that was around. But we're going to see Dean Liu. We're going to see pre-foreclosure short sales, or not short sales, but sales, hopefully not short sales, and those sorts of solutions and resolutions for folks that are stuck and not able to get back on their feet. So that's what's up.
No, it seems like things are starting to kind of move in the right direction, but it's slowly turning that boat around, right? So
Yeah, it's going to be a slow roll.
very slow turn. All right, Patrick, I know we have a lot of agents doing a lot of great work right now. Just wanted to go ahead and touch upon that real quick. What's going on?
Well, so as you all know, we implemented a new fee structure for 2021, and it's a stepping structure in terms of an improvement for you in terms of your take-home fee for our program. And so we now have several agents that in the pipeline are there to achieve the TRIO Preferred Agent Plus status, which is basically where they keep 90% of their fee is retained, and the referral fee goes down to 10% with the program. And so we're really excited to see that progress for agents that have figured out how to work with our program super effectively, whether it's with new construction or first-time home buyers, and especially with some of the sole proprietors and self-employed. And so they've figured it out, and they've already, achieved and on their pathway to achieving the additional marketing benefit of our program, and that's being a plus agent. So we're hopeful that, the rest of you out there today are going to, find yourself on that path if you're not already, with success. And Aaron, Aaron's always there for you to help with the marketing initiatives, and I know you'll touch on some of that again later in this, in terms of business planning and how to, enhance your business practice with our program.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Facebook user says, I love the new fee schedule. So perfect. See, people are already using it. We love to see that. We have a lot of agents taking advantage of it and getting to that TPA plus status, right? For 3 closings now with us and enjoying that. So yay, we love to hear from you guys on those sort of things. So thank you for that great feedback. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, we're always looking to help you guys build your business, right? And so one of the things that I get asked all the time is, or I ask agents, I guess I should say, is who is the audience that you're trying to go ahead and target out there, right? And there's that spray and pray method, right? Where you just send a big, and I always use fishing as an analogy, but you're sending a big net out to the ocean and hoping that the Facebook gods give you a sale, right? And so that doesn't always happen, right? And so, but if you are targeting your audience, you're going to have a better chance of doing that, right? You're going to have a better opportunity of finding that right person, because you're going to learn their habits. You're going to learn where they are finding their information, whether that's on social media, whether that's with a mailer, whether that's a live event, whatever it might be, right? And so there's a lot of different targeted audiences out there, and we're starting to see a lot of agents start to bring in a lot of these approved customers, which is really exciting, because those are great customers for Trio. They get approved, I'm imagining pretty quickly. I'll let you guys kind of talk about that, but they are definitely something that you want to take a look at, right? And so I'm just going to highlight a few of these ones that we've seen a lot lately that might be a good idea for you as you're targeting everyone. And so what do I mean by targeting everyone? If you're just sending out a general Facebook ad or an Instagram post, or just not even an ad, just sending it out to your friends, then that's not getting to the right people just yet, right? And so the right language, the right imagery, that is always really, really important. So one of the ones that I do want to highlight, and Darryl, I'm going to let you kind of take this one over, but that is vacation homes and second homes. And this is a pretty interesting statistic from Housing Wire this last week. Demand for second and vacation homes has risen 84% over this last year. That's pretty significant right there.
Yeah, and Trio, I think there's always been a bit of confusion, but we are not okay with investment properties, but we're perfectly okay with second homes. And so we do finance second homes, and a lot of times, folks that are, frankly, I think a lot of people, there was also some words in the New York Times about folks that were really unsure once they did make that plunge into the second home market too, right? So with Trio, you have the ability to finance that second home and make sure you like the area, make sure you really are going to spend time there, and then make the commitment to buy, right? That's one of the advantages of our flexibility. So, I think that we're seeing, and I, whether you call it second homes or transitioning primary residences, which a lot of folks are looking at doing right now, they still own their house in a given market. One of the challenges for folks that are looking at that, and they do end up, renting up their existing residence, is that they can't use that new rental income for 2 years. And that's another way that Trio can work to help bridge those gaps for people that don't have all of that extra income, to be able to qualify for 2 homes at the same time. I mean, that's a pretty big burden for most households to do. So anyway, we're happy to take a look at second homes. Vacation, it's the same thing for folks. And nowadays, especially with the flexibility in work, you expect that to continue, where people that can are going to look at being outside the city or in a different climate, and making the best of their flexibility in their work schedule.
So just to clarify, the trio home always has to be the primary residence, right?
Nope.
So this, no. Oh, okay.
No, second home is a true second home. So
Right.
they can be living in their primary residence, and Trio finances a second home for them. No, Trio is, yes, it's not investment property. That's different, right?
Okay,
They're not bringing
there
a
you go.
renter in or using VRBO as the primary purpose for that home. It doesn't mean that, we don't have provisions against short-term rentals in our agreements.
Gotcha.
But it's, one of those things that no, people are using it truly for a second home or vacation home.
Yeah.
Got it.
What's interesting with that stat too, Aaron, is that I think that is having an impact on markets like Phoenix, where people are buying their second homes and vacation homes, but in many cases they're buying it with the intent of throwing it on, the VRBO, Airbnb, whatever.
Right.
And that's having a huge impact on families that are just trying to buy a house because they're moving there. You know what I mean? So you've got that competition going on in the marketplace, which has been a challenge for a lot of people, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, there's other audiences too that I want you to guys go ahead and focus on. One of those that we've actually seen quite a bit, and I just got one this morning, and that was for relocation, right? That's a extremely popular thing right now. You could be relocating within the same state. You could be relocating to a different state, right? We know that the Sacramento area is very popular right now for a lot of people in the Bay Area and Silicon Valley. We know that a lot of Californians are moving to Nevada, Arizona, and
Everywhere.
Texas, and everywhere, right?
Everywhere, yeah.
So
they're disrupting the market.
They really are disrupting the market, right? So, relocation is a great thing, and there's a lot of agents that's their specialty, which is great. But you might want to consider putting out some ads for relocating. Are you moving? And I've seen quite a few of those lately, which is smart, right? They're targeting a lot of California residents. And if you're in Nevada or Arizona or Texas or any other state, if you are an agent there, maybe you want to put those ads in California for folks that might be moving to your state, right? It'd be a great opportunity right there. So we're seeing this quite a bit right now. I just got one this morning for Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Another great one that we may want to think about, and Jared, I'm going to let you kind of elaborate on this. And I just put here a new job, but a lot of this is having to do with COVID, correct? There's a lot of changes happening in the work environment, a lot of changes obviously in people's environment. And so sometimes it's a new job because of COVID, right? And hoping you can kind of elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, again, I mean, just a reminder that mortgage underwriting requires 2 years in the same line of business, and COVID disruption is also, we've been seeing that now for almost a year, right? Coming up right on a year, where proof of employment and the last final underwriting, et cetera, is there. So with new jobs, people are transitioning careers right now because they've had disruption, and so this is again something they may be relocating for with new work. Or they're in the same area and now they're, making a different type of income, sometimes more income, which is fantastic. And in those cases, we're still, again, Trio is still a great solution for that. Whereas in the mortgage world, they're going to be renting. They're not going to have a choice to get a mortgage right now. So we see a lot of folks in those situations. And also on relocation, we're seeing relocation when people are staying in the same job. So for underwriting, it's a bit interesting where someone will move from California to Las Vegas because they want to buy a house now. And so they're looking to us to finance that house for them, but their job is still in Sacramento or in the Bay Area. And so we're, just verifying from their current employer that their work remote is part of their permanent position. So we just get confirmation of that from their employer. And once we have that, we're good to go.
And to draw an analogy to like the financial markets, Trio is just a phenomenal financing vehicle for people in those situations because of our option. I mean, it's, they're not forced to purchase the home, and then if things changed on them, that they have to sell their home. They have that option to purchase under their program, and they're protected so that if things did change, they've got that flexibility. But if things solidify, then they've locked in their price for that home, living in that home today in that market where if they were to have to wait or rent for a couple of years, probably wouldn't afford that home in most cases, like we've seen. So,
yeah. And, the last 3 years have been a pretty incredible example of that value in that option, right, Patrick, where you see the home prices that have accelerated, and the people that are in our program that secured their home a year ago, 2 years ago, they're now well in the money, on their option. And so they can sit on that and make a decision when they want to purchase. And they're in that ability to actually, say go. And if folks are right now concerned that there's some sort of a bubble that's being created, again, we're a safe bet. They can get into their home using Trio. So for agents, these are those things that if you're talking to a renter or someone relocating and they're making that decision, these are the types of things that you want to talk to them about in helping protect themselves against the future, right? And be in a position to take advantage of the option we provide.
I'm just looking at a timeline, like you said, if somebody has a new job, that they're probably not going to be able to get a loan for another 2 years, right? By that point, they could literally start right now, lock in their option price, get into a Trio home, right? And become a homeowner by the time they could actually get a loan in 2 years, right? And it's pretty incredible, right? So, and then I do want to talk about one more target audience, and this is a really important one right now. We always want to support our small business owners, right? They're doing. I'm trying to support them as much as I can, right? But there's this is a great opportunity right here. And every small business owner that we talk to, they're like, oh my gosh, this is such a great opportunity for us. We wouldn't be able to get into a home otherwise, right? And so please consider targeting those small business owners. And how do you do that? Go ahead, Daryl.
I was just going to say, and remember, small business is everybody from, the folks that cut your hair to people that are, potentially in the restaurant that you're frequenting, to the coffee shop owners, all the way up to, manufacturing and the like. So there's a pretty significant variant in what we call small business owners or self-employed that need a solution. And especially, those that have had, again, bumps in their income, COVID. So the challenge in underwriting a small business for a traditional mortgage lender is extreme. It's very hard to get a small business owner completed through a mortgage process these days, especially someone who's growing their business, or who transitioned from being employed into being self-employed. Even in the same line of business, it's challenging.
I always use the analogy. I just went to the grocery store the other day, and small business owners, just looking at that power center where the grocery store was, right? There was a gym. So you've got personal trainers right over there, right? There was a nail salon. There was a hair salon. There was a barber shop, right? There's all sorts of folks out there. We've got, Lyft and Uber drivers. We've got doctors that own their own practices, right? So there's a lot of different folks out there. And I was saying about the grocery store, just going to the grocery store, on the little cart right up there, I had two people advertising to me right there. And then I had somebody who, was advertising, hand wipes and stuff like that. Small business owners advertise themselves, right? So who they are, right? You just have to kind of open up and go, oh, wait, I can go talk with those folks and help them out. So please take a look at those small business owners. And how do you target them? Well, you can approach them, right? Like I said, they advertise themselves, but it's in the copy that you use. It's in how you're doing your targeted marketing in terms of, if you're doing a Facebook ad, there's buttons, there's data points that show you can actually choose small business owners or small business administration or whatever it might be, right? You can also go ahead and make sure that the image that you're using is something that's going to grab their attention, right? So there's a lot of different things you can do to make sure that you are targeting just small business owners. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get everybody else out there, but you're going to have a much better opportunity of getting those folks, and that's always really nice.
And I would add to that, Aaron. we're a pretty friendly company when it comes to helping you guys be successful with your business. And if you have a real clear strategy and you can target small businesses with multiple employees that, you know, can benefit from our program, you know, we can work with you to approach them in terms of offering some incentives for them that they can pass through to their, you know, employees, if they have, you know, not just for one individual person, but if they have a group of people that can benefit from Trio, then, you know, there's some stuff we can do to possibly help out with that. So just, you know, think outside the box as far as when you're trying to approach and grow your platform and your business with small businesses. So there's some stuff we can do to help out with that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, Facebook user has an appointment to run to. We'd love to see that, right? But thank you so much for holding these informational talks. And remember, to get on these informational talks, you can do that on any of the Facebook groups. You can do that on Twitter. You can also do that on YouTube as well. And so make sure you hit that like and notification bells. That way you do get those notifications when these do come out. We try to do these every other Wednesday now at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And again, yeah, if you do have an appointment, we understand that. You can come back. These are recorded. You can come back and rewatch them and ask questions later on down the road. So thank you so much for joining us while you had the opportunity. But good luck with your customer. We'd love to see that. So guys, I hate to tell you this. Trio's turning 20. They're turning 20, right? They're now no longer a teenager. We got to let them out of the house, right? They're turning 20, right? So I think this is a huge milestone, and we often get the question, like, you know, because a lot of the markets that we're in, we've only been there for maybe a year and a half or so, right? And so they think we're a startup and we've only been around for maybe a year or so, but we've actually been around for 20 years doing this, right? But we just might be new to your neck of the woods. So I just kind of wanted to go through some of the things that makes Trio unique and how we got started and things like that, because I think it's a good refresher for people to know, you know, we are not like everybody else out there. We do things differently. We have a reason for doing things differently. So, Daryl, I was hoping you can kind of take a look and talk to us a little bit about your background and how Trio started.
Sure. Yeah. No, 20 years. Wow. That's why I've got those lines, I guess. You know, it's not why it's dark in my room. That's Seattle. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think what's important here is that, you know, the same mission that we had when I started this business is the same we have today. And when I think and look back, I mean, I got into the industry out of, frankly, out of technology and in public accounting. So kind of business background and got into the real estate business and learned it from the ground up. And at the same time, you know, immediately saw a gap. I mean, I got my licenses like a lot of you guys. I started a brokerage, started a mortgage company, grew those in the local markets. But at the same time, this gap between, as I was doing my broker education, right, the gap between renting and owning was super clear. And this was back before 100% financing was around. You know, back then you had to do 5% to get into a conventional loan. And it was clear to me that in our market in Seattle at the time, housing appreciation was constant, right? And people were already and continue to be priced out of the market just after a couple of years. So the idea of being able to get in and move into the home that you want and be able to at least finance that home is what was the genesis for Trio. And you know, we talk about this, but not as much as we used to. I mean, really, to me, coming into the industry from the outside, it didn't make any sense that there wasn't at least financing option for people. And so after doing a lot of research and figuring out what had been done wrong in the past, and mostly wrong, very little right, quite frankly, you know, I put together the concept for what today is Trio. And in the beginning, that was just, you know, my group buying houses and putting folks in that would come to our mortgage company and our real estate business and not be able to get into a mortgage. We would finance them through, back then, a lease to own program. It was still the same. We did 18-month and 36-month contracts, and most people were able to buy in kind of the 24 to 30 months, which is magically the same number that there is today for us with Trio, right? And the difference back then is we had to put them into new financing. And so one of the flaws that has always been in lease purchase, I know I don't have forever, but in my talk today, but the flaws was being able to transition people safely into ownership. So that's why, we developed the first lease purchase mortgage product with Fannie Mae back before the crisis. And that was done up in the Northwest as well. And then during the crisis, we did a lot of different work with Trio, across 34 different states, and, a lot of work with the U.S. Treasury Department, with Bank of America, with a lot of significant players, and helped kind of reestablish the market using different innovations and using Trio. Then, trying to get back to what we had done before the crisis is where, the discussions with FHA and HUD and all of our governmental partners. So we, recreated in a better way what we had done with Fannie before, and put in place, a new version of the lease purchase mortgage, this time using an FHA. So, what's super different about us, we're not a Wall Street firm. This isn't a play for us. This is a business. This is a long-term mission, which is to help people find a solution into transition to ownership and capturing equity, that allows them to purchase. And when I say the failings in the past, most of the challenges in the industry is that, people have to pay too much. So you look at our quote unquote competition that folks sometimes fall into, and they're paying, 5 to 7% per year in appreciation. Well, you're not going to be able to buy. And if you are, you're going to have very, very little home equity when you do. So you're basically just paying premium rents for a longer period of time for a home that, yes, you got to choose, but someone else is making the money. Our goal is to sell you the property for as, frankly, as modest a cost as we can to still meet our numbers, but to deliver the benefit to the person who's living in that home, who's making the payments in that home, and who's, then able to purchase that home and capture that equity. So we're turning families from a negative net worth into, very, very positive net worth during a very short period of time. You look at what we do, it's not just getting into home ownership, it's stabilizing households. And stability is what our main underlying, goal is with our program, is helping people have a solid base to lean on, throughout their history. So there's a lot of stuff for us to do, a lot of improvements, a lot of more innovation, but, our method of business isn't going to change, Aaron. So it's been a great 20 years. We've done a lot of work, but I think our next 20 years is going to be more impactful overall. Probably, you look at what the next 5 years is going to lead, it's going to be fairly incredible to see, what and how many folks we're able to help and impact.
It's really an incredible program. When I first learned about it about 10 years ago, I just thought nobody else is doing anything like this, right? And actually cares about the customer. And it's such an interesting program. And anytime I talk to agents about it, they're like, why are you guys doing this? And I share with them the mission, and they kind of understand then, oh, wow, you guys are really about helping the customer become that homeowner. And like you said, stability, that's one of the most important things. Patrick, I don't want to leave you out of this. I think it's important to note, you joined Trio, about 10 years ago, right? Maybe 11, 12 years ago.
10.
So
yeah, just over 10. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your background, because I think you bring an interesting dynamic to what we're doing here with Trio.
Well, I think you touched on it there at the end, is that, our mission is greatly aligned with our, government agency partners in terms of what we do, and our focus on, treating customers the right way, and empowering the customers, and still, giving the customer the tools to be successful, I think is the key in all of that. But with that comes the stability, right? It's stabilizing communities. And my background has been, the majority of my my career has been focused working with housing authorities and public housing, financial projects, multifamily, single family, and et cetera. And so, again, as Daryl had mentioned, there was a history of lease to own, but there was never a program that was designed with the consumer success in mind and the transition in mind, with that end goal, and building the resources and establishing an opportunity to build wealth. And so, with that, when we introduced TRIO to some of the government agencies and whatnot, in terms of what our program was designed to do, they embraced it with open arms to help deliver our program to the community that they serve. And we're doing some very unique things, and still trying to design some new opportunities for these agencies and their communities, from the helping achieve homeownership opportunities in the right way for some of the lower income families, with our main focus being on the workforce and workforce housing. So we're filling a void for them that they can't achieve on their own, which is really exciting. And we just have so much. We can provide so much more opportunity to the communities and to these agencies to support. So that's why, when Daryl talked about our support that we've gotten with HUD and the federal agencies, they're seeing that impact that we're having on communities, as well as, especially with some of the work we've done with the minority communities as well. And delivering to them a product that works has been very exciting and empowering. So I think like Daryl said, our next 5 to 20 years and beyond is going to be extremely impactful and exciting as we continue to evolve our program and bring we'll continue to bring on new products that can further expand the opportunities for the consumer with TRIO financing. So we're the future is bright, as you say. You gotta wear shades. So put my shades on. But anyway, so that gives you a little color in terms of my background, Aaron, in terms of why.
No, that's fantastic. And
yeah.
And Daryl, you said, the next 5 years, I think is going to be we're going to be needed in a lot of places and wanted in a lot of places. And, but I think 2021 is going to be a big transition year for folks to learn about TRIO. And so is there anything we can kind of tease about what might be coming on down the pipeline here in the next, year or two? Anything you want to talk about? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what the biggest challenge that we face is educating the industry, right? Which is why we're out here talking every day. And in order to do that, a lot of times, innovating our existing product in ways that the industry can better understand is one of our goals. So, that said, we've developed a product that's going to be coming out very soon. And that product will be a lender-driven product, meaning it'll be a rate sheet, home loan product that'll be sitting there for the lender. It'll still accommodate, about, let's just call it maybe 80% of what TRIO can finance. There'll be some, limitations on that product, but lenders will be. The difference is when I say it's a lender product, lenders will be underwriting the consumers. They'll be closing the loans. We'll still be executing, doing everything that we have to do on our side. So the back end of that product is still the same as TRIO, essentially, but the front end to the consumer provides them both a short-term, but also a long-term solution. One of the areas when we talk about self-employment, not all those folks can resolve their situation, meaning document it on their tax returns the way that a lender wants, within a few years. So, the new product will be a fully amortizing, just about 20-year product versus a, short-term or moderate term 3 to 5, which we do with TRIO, right? So it'll fill a different type of gap. And we'll also be using that product for our own TRIO customers when people are trying to get financing at the end. If they're not able to still get a mortgage after that time period, we'll look at financing them. Payment history is going to be the key. Folks need to remember that, they are responsible. So we do everything we can. But I think one of the areas that we've been consistent on is that we provide carrots and sticks, right? Carrots, which are the incentives to pay your payments on time and take care of your home. But we also have sticks like everybody does. It's like we can't accommodate folks that don't make their payments, that don't take care of their homes. I mean, if that's not their interest, then they do need to continue to rent from someone, and homeownership may not be right for them. So that's always been our pragmatic approach to this, is that we're kind of I'll use the example I do now more than we're like the training wheels for learning how to ride a bike. If you can get the training wheels off and keep your balance, then go for it. You're going to get better and better at this. But if you keep falling over from side to side, and we've got to balance you up every single time, and you can't get on your feet, maybe you really need to stick to roller skates or something. So, that's kind of at the end of it. But yeah, a pretty exciting new product coming out, and we'll have a lot more on that later. It's going to be going through some test market stuff here over the next, call it 3-4 months, and then we'll be rolling it out further after that.
I think it's going to be a game changer. I'm really excited about it. You heard it here, folks. First time on February 17th, 2021. I think it's going to be a game changer. We can look back on it and go, wow, in 3 years from now, that was huge. I'm so glad for that. And you may have noticed, some other changes that are coming down. We've started to, you may have noticed that on our locations and on our map, there's a lot more blue states now. So that's kind of interesting too. So we might be expanding to some new states as well. So I'm really excited for this year and for the next couple of years. I think this is going to be huge, and really, really excited. It's like you said, it's been a great 20 years. You guys have done a phenomenal job, and really excited to be working with you guys on this. And really, this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be a great 2021, right? Not like 2020. It's going to be a great 2021, right?
All good years, just in different ways.
Exactly. Well, folks, that's the end of our Trio Talk for today. I just want to challenge you to go ahead and try to include Trio in your business plan. I'm telling you, the agents that do that take, 20 or 30% of their business plan and include Trio into that, they're the ones that are already becoming TPA pluses. They've got several closings with us. They've got several going in the future. So if you need help with that, if you need some guidance with that, if you need some help with your marketing, please reach out to the marketing department. We'd be happy to sit down with you and do a quick consultation, try to figure out maybe what some of those issues might be for you, and what we can do to try to help you out and build your business. If you have questions about that, reach out to marketing@thinktrio.com. Again, marketing@thinktrio.com. We'd love to help you go ahead and put Trio into your business plan. Well, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate today. This was fun. And again, congratulations on turning 20. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
everyone.
Aaron. And great job on TrioTALKS and its evolution and all of that as well. It's a pretty momentous things coming up on a year for TrioTALKS here.
Wow.
It is almost a year for TrioTALKS. Yeah.
Crazy.
You're right. I didn't think about that. It has been a very busy year.
You got to do your anniversary show, Aaron.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'll get a nice gold jacket or something.
The best stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good one.
We'll weekend, everyone.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.